folks, and welcome back to Jim's Multimedia Musings. To those of you who have followed this channel through thick and thin, I must sincerely apologize that I've been off the air for quite some time now. I don't really have much explanation to offer you other than that things got in the way. But I'm back now, and to make it up to you, I have a two-parter in which I will discuss two movies that have been out on Netflix for some time now, and my insights as to why comparing them matters. Well, the first of these two movies that I'll be talking about is the Netflix original film, The Gray Man, starring Ryan Gosling and directed by the fabled Russo Brothers of Avengers Endgame fame. Now, okay, those of you who've seen the Russo Brothers' body of work in Marvel will know that they first made their big splash thanks to Captain America: The Winter Soldier, in which they basically took a pulpy comic book movie and basically turned it into an espionage thriller. So some of you guys may have been wondering, wow, what would happen if these guys got a blank check to make their own espionage thriller outside of the whole constraints of the Marvel storytelling system? Well, the answer would come 8 years later with The Gray Man. And as it turned out, if the Russos took a comic book movie and turned it into an espionage thriller with Captain America: The Winter Soldier, with The Gray Man, they basically took an espionage thriller and turned it into a comic book movie. Yeah, that's not a compliment. Right? So, essentially, you know, if I wanted to be really cynical, I could sum this movie up in two words: Bourne Light. But it deserves a better description than that. I mean, it's not a terrible movie. Let's just be clear on that. The Gray Man is basically the story of Six, a CIA assassin, very high-profile CIA assassin, who turns on his paymasters when he finds out that one of them, surprise, surprise, is up to some really shady stuff. Okay, and who does his boss at CIA, played by Rege Jean Page. Who else does he hire? But another ex-CIA agent, and a grossly unethical one, played by Chris Evans. So the movie is, it's a cat and mouse game. So you have Carmichael and his flunky Lloyd on the one hand trying to catch Six on the other, and then Six may or may not get help from other people like Ana de Armas's Danny Miranda, and his old mentor Billy Bob Thornton. Well, his old mentor played by Billy Bob Thornton. Okay, so it's a cat and mouse game. There's quite a bit of action, and you can tell that the Russos learned quite a bit from their Marvel days in terms of how they manage the ebb and flow of storytelling. All of that said, well, you know, considering the resources these guys had at their disposal, one would have expected a better movie. Okay, I mean, you know, it's got some pretty cool fight sequences. It's got some pretty cool chills and thrills and spills, but there's nothing about this movie that would put it anywhere near on par with the best of the genre. You know, I mean, personally, my favorite is the Bourne movies, especially the second and third of the original trilogy. Let's not talk about the fourth one, okay? The Gray Man, okay, it's a competent movie, whatever my quibbles with it are. But here's my real problem with it, okay? And this is something that's integral to the narrative. Okay, so we have Six. We have him on the run from Carmichael and Lloyd Hansen. We have him trying to expose their evil misdeeds, etc. And then throughout the narrative, we hear mention of an old man. Okay, someone whom even Carmichael CIA boss answers to. And of course, the old man is repeatedly mentioned, and the movie ends without him even being, shown, without him ever being revealed. So clearly, this movie was made with sequels, and I'm not even gonna say a sequel. I'm gonna say sequels in mind. This movie was engineered to be a product, even though it was never intended for theaters, although it did get a brief theatrical sort of preview release. But this movie was so clearly intended to launch something for Netflix, to launch a series of films. And as such, because it had that firmly in mind, okay, it feels like a product. It feels like something they're trying to sell you, as opposed to them just trying to tell a story. I mean, that was the wonder of the Russos' Marvel work. I mean, it's obviously a product. From the get-go, it's a product. It's designed to sell toys and comic books. There was never any pretense to the contrary. And yet, the Russos and the better Marvel filmmakers, the ones that didn't manage to put their own stamp on things, they took this thing that was basically a product and used it as a medium to tell a story. Okay, and that was what made the Russos' work on Captain America: The Winter Soldier so compelling, was that storytelling came first. Here in The Gray Man, storytelling is there, of course. So is all the action, so is all the money shots. But I could not get away from the fact that they were trying to sell me on this movie having a sequel or even a spin-off. I mean, there's this one really nice this really gripping action scene in which Six faces off against an Indian or a South Asian assassin. I'm not going to spoil how that turns out, but suffice it to say, it's pretty cool to watch. And the Russos have explicitly said that they'd like to see that guy get his own spin-off. I mean, wow, So yeah, what kind of hurts this movie, The Gray Man, is that you feel that it's, that it's a product. Not so much that it's a bad movie, although a lot of people have said that. I don't agree. I don't think it's a bad movie. But what bothers me about it is that it feels like a product. That said, I give it a 7 out of 10. I mean, I enjoyed it, for all of its flaws. But yeah, next time Netflix, and you guys somehow take pride in being some kind of haven for original content. When you're trying to sell us something new, don't make it so obvious that you're trying to sell us something. All right? And that's it for part 1. I will be back very shortly with part 2. And I promise many of you will like the movie I'm going to talk about then.